I think. Yes. Right. So welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. And have you got any questions for me about, have you tried this different sites I gave you last time? Are you working for the C1 exams and for the concorso?
The second one.
Tiziana says so and so. No questions for me? Okay. So what I would like to do today is, since I had been asked by quite a few people, to be honest, about the concourse, I got informations about, hi Laura, welcome.
Hello.
I got a few information about the concorso. And I discovered it's quite difficult. Not the concorso in itself, which is difficult, everybody knows it, but even the whole procedure. Because if I can show you, what I discovered is that, what's this? Okay, first of all, there can be a selection first. It depends on how many people apply for that concorso. So, for example, if you are applying for AB24, Lingua e Cultura Straniera Inglese, there are only 60 places available in the Veneto region. And if there are more than 250 applications, so in case there are applications more than 4 times the number of the places at the disposal, so 4 times 6, 12, 18, 24, okay, 240, but with a minimum of 250. So if there are more than 250 people who wants to do this concorso for this subject, in case there are more than 250 people, first of all, there will be a selection. And which is highly probable because, I mean, there will be more than 250 people applying for English literature and language in the whole of the Veneto region. So it's highly probable, I would say it's almost certain, that there will be a selection first. What do you think? I mean, there will be more than 250 people applying for this subject, I think, in the whole of the Veneto region. Are you applying for the Veneto? Who's interested in this thing? Who is?
I know. I already know it, Maria Pia.
Tiziana. Okay, Tiziana. All right.
I already know it because of course, I need to inform myself about all the procedure. Yes. So I already know it.
Okay, perfect. And it seems, if you read it, it seems easy because capacità logiche, comprensione del testo. Okay, conoscenza della normativa, somebody may say, I have to study this. And conoscenza dell'inglese, at least a level B2, I mean, we are applying for teaching English, it should be okay. But I'm sorry to say, Tiziana, it's not so easy as you might imagine. For example, capacità logiche. I have put some simulations. These are simulations taken from Orizzonte Scuola to give you an idea of how they look like, what the questions are based on. Have you already watched them, Tiziana? Do you?
Yes, I already practiced on them. I know something about. They are not. Yes. They aren't easy. You're right. It's not. It's a hard job.
Easy, especially for people applying to teach English, because most of them, they would be okay for people applying for math or physics or something like that. But for people teaching English, I mean, they are completely out of our, field. So, okay, in this simulation, you've got 50 questions and 50 minutes at the disposal. In the real selection, there will be only 20 of these questions chosen, and there will be 20 questions on capacità logiche, 20 questions on comprensione del testo, 10 questions on normativa, and 10 questions on the knowledge of English. So they will take 20 of those questions, but for a total of 60 and 60 minutes. So the time corresponds. Now, in this selection, they give you an example of, where is it? I've lost it. An example of 50 questions in 50 minutes. And they are funny questions because look at this. Con riferimento alla figura 1, and when I first read it, I said, where is picture 1? I can't see any picture 1. Then I realized that picture 1 is this one, So I don't know why they wrote with reference to picture 1. It's useless. So forget about this. Individuare il diagramma che soddisfa la relazione insiemistica esistente tra i termini dati cantanti, canzoni e giovani. So, you have various diagrams to choose from, but not all of them are available. So first thing you should do is to decide to see which are appliables. For example, we have diagram 1, 2, 4, and 6. So 7, 5, and 3, they are already out. Then, let's see. Cantanti, canzoni e giovani. Young people can be singers and can sing songs. Cantanti can be young people and can sing songs. Canzoni, I don't know. There isn't a strict connection about them. So canzoni, I think, is inside the cantanti group. So canzoni inside the cantanti group. And young people are connected though. So maybe, okay, 3 is not included. So 6, 4, okay, 6, no. These are all separate, it's not right. 4, 1 inside the other, no, because which should be this one? Cantanti, no, they're not necessarily young. No. They're not necessarily young, so can't be this one. Number 2.
Number 1, probably.
Number 1. Number 1 and number 2 are more or less the same. The only difference is that one is included in the other.
Not in the whole part. Not in the whole part. It's not.
Because canzoni, okay. It's different. It's difficult because young people can sing canzoni and not being singers. But if they sing a canzoni, we can say they become singers. Okay, so let's say canzoni is included into the singer, part. So inside here. Why giovani is completely outside? Number 4, no. Number 6, no. I would say either number 1, where cantanti can sing songs, but maybe they can also No, what can they do? Cantanti sing songs, so must be this one. But why can't they be young? They could be young. What do you suggest? Is anybody able to solve this one?
For instance, I think that diagram 1 is can be the correct because singers and young people are both humans. Instead, songs
belong to a different field.
It's like an abstract object.
Okay, but if you put it like this, okay, then they are humans. They cannot be anything else. So what's the part in common, and what's the part?
The part in common is that
they are humans.
A young singer it's the relation between young people and singers. But not all the singers are young.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so the humanity, the fact that they're humans is in common, and songs. Okay, so let's say diagram 1. But you see, we have already passed for, I don't know how many minutes, but 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes. Let's go to question 2. You could go on like this, but it's better to go on like this, because in this case, you know, you can see the answers you didn't reply to. So question number 2, again, with reference to figure 1, picture 1, yes, decide which diagram satisfies the relation between giocatori di tennis giovani e atei. Again, sorry?
Yes, number 5.
Number 1.
Number 5, yes, exactly. Because giocatori di tennis can be young and can be atei. Atei can be giocatori di tennis and young can be, okay, diagram number 5. Okay, this is right. Number 3. Data la sequenza bla bla bla, individuare l'alternativa che la riproduce fedelmente se aggiunta di seguito alla seguente. Okay, so this is the first part. We have to find out the second part. YHG5.
The first one for me.
FDS 9X. Yes, right. Okay, but anyway, what I meant to say is they are not easy. You have to practice them in advance. Because if you are there at the concorso and you're put in front of these questions without any preparation, you are puzzled and maybe use a lot of time, and you need to really spare your time as much as possible. That's the same with question number 2. Comprensione del testo. Okay, this is less difficult, but nevertheless, sometimes it's not easy either. What's it?
Sorry, excuse me, Maria Pia, what
Yes.
kind of concorso is it?
Any kind of concorso.
Ordinario, this is ordinario for sure.
Sì, concorso to become a teacher, But for whatever subject, the selective test, the entry selective test is the same for any subject you want to teach. Whether you want to teach Latin, Greek, English, math, whatever, this is the selective test. You have to pass in case there are more than 4 times the places available with a minimum of 250 people. But in the whole Veneto region, there will be more than 250 people applying for English, you know. Maybe not for Greek or for, I don't know, but for English, there will be more than 250 people. So anyway, this is the other examples of questions. Uh-oh. Okay, this is a wrong link, evidently. I will find the correct one. I thought I had, but something wrong. I will correct it. Then normativa scholastica, there's nothing to do. You simply have to study because the questions are all, what's wrong?
Okay. Maria Pia, excuse me. Do we need to log in to use these links? I mean, you put them in a piece of paper last time. In case we just push them, is it okay, or probably should we log in?
It should be okay. I don't know why this thing comes in. Maybe you should log in. I don't know. I email. Okay, let's log in then. I can't remember. I don't know why this comes out. I thought they were the links without need to log in. Anyway, if you simply dial Orizzonte Scuola, simulazioni, basta è buona. Ok, for example, conoscenza della normativa. Okay, for example, that's for all the subjects. So, conoscenza della normativa, that's the idea. Ai sensi dell'articolo bla bla bla, l'orario settimanale temporale è di 30 ore, 24 ore, 25. You see, you simply have to study. There's nothing else you can do. You simply have to study. A norma dell'articolo 11 del bla bla bla, eccetera, eccetera. So there's nothing else you can do. And that's the same for comprehensione. Comprensione test is easier, to be honest, because se Bruno è un giovane di grande bellezza, posso affermare che Bruno è simpatico, è un tipo alla mano, è una donna, è un tipo carismatico. Ok, in this case, it's easier. But some of them are not easy. But anyway, you have to practice. You have to practice because otherwise you will be there and you will lose a lot of time. Just simply to understand.
Yeah,
to understand what there is to do. Indicare quale delle seguenti coppie di termini presenta caratteristiche di disomogeneità rispetto alle altre. Messere Madonna, gatto gatta, dottore dottoressa, figlio figlia.
Messere Madonna. Disomogeneità, quindi messere Madonna.
Because you look at the words, ok, messere Madonna, gatto gatta, dottore dottoressa, figlio figlia. Could be. You know, there could also be other possibilities. Anyway, this is the idea. I will check the link and put it back to you correct. And also the English is not easy. It's not particularly difficult, but it's not easy either because it requires a lot of time. Let's try this one. It's supposed to be level B2, but look, question 1 of 50. The burden of responsibility for implementing these initiatives will inevitably fall on schools. However, it is crucial not to treat the skills involved in spotting fake news, blah, 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 blah. You have to read all this. Read the question. And then think about the correct answer. But sometimes they are not so evident. Sometimes you have to, you know, how can I say, derived them from the text. For example, about this one, what would you suggest?
You must read it.
Critical thinking.
Why not number 2? Because critical thinking, media and numerical literacy, as well as knowledge about history, other cultures, and religions are all a part of the key competencies that schools already develop.
Yes, but it also says critical thinking is a transversal skill developed across a number of different spheres and should be applied when browsing social media, watching TV, or reading traditional print.
You're right. Yes.
So you have
yes,
because I did
specifically to deal with the fake news outside of this broader social. Però.
Try critical thinking, and then we see which one is correct.
No, actually, it's not so easy, because you can send the text. We only had one question. Send the text, and they will give you if you passed or not, but they don't give you the correction.
No.
Punteggio 1. Okay, punteggio 1 means it was correct.
Because have a look. Esito non superato.
Yes, because we only answered 2% of the questions.
Okay.
Only one question out of 50 or whatever it was. So, of course, we didn't pass the text. But that answer was marked as 1. 1 means it was correct. Okay, let's try it again with let's try it again. With a different answer. Okay, this is a different question because they change. Okay, let's try one. Let's say like this and see what comes out. See, punteggio 0. That means that that question was wrong because I clicked it, at random without thinking. So exactly. So the first question was correct. You're right. Yes. So yes, critical thinking was the correct answer because we got 1 point. Anyway, to go on with the concorso, I don't know. They give 1 point to any correct answer and 0 points for any wrong answer. So in any case, it's good to try. Have a try. Even if you don't know, have a try. One never knows. Maybe you click the right answer by chance. Okay, so do always try, because trying does not involve you losing points. So it's always good to try. And yes, if there are, let's say, 300 people applying, and the places available are 60, they will take the first 180 people who passed the text according to their gradation. There are 60 points available. 60 by 3 is 180. So they will take the first 180 people who passed the text according to the total of the marks and the time and everything. Once you have passed this text, selection test, Here I looked for you the places available. I don't know which, probably these two are the one you applied to. Tiziana, did you apply to AB24 and AB25? I suppose these are the ones you applied. But in any way, if you pass that selection, you have to...
Yes, Maria Pia, I'm sorry, I'm moving. So yes, I had to apply for AB 24, 25.
Yes, that's what I imagined. Yes, if you pass that selection, you are admitted to the first written text. And this is also quite difficult. But I'm going to help you with this as much as I can. Okay, I'll think about it afterwards. I'm going to do it because this can be also useful for all the other teachers, especially if they teach English. Because what I'm going to tell you today is a couple of websites very, very useful to study literature or to have your students study literature or to prepare to plan your literature lessons. And those websites are, number one, the one I like best, is called Spark Notes. I'll show it to you. Spark Notes. Spark like spark. Notes. In Spark Notes, it's not only for literature, it's also for other subjects like biography, biology, chemistry, computer science, drama, economics, film, health, history, math, philosophy, physics, poetry, psychology, short stories, sociology, US government and politics. However, being an American site, it's all in English. So if you want to use it to teach math, you can, but please consider it's all written in English. Okay, but it can be a good way to, how can I say, to help your students to practice English and math at the same time. What we need though is literature. If we go to literature, we can, there are many beautiful things. For example, there are many original texts of classic works side by side with an easy to understand translation. So for example, you can read the Canterbury Tales, which is in ancient English, with next to it, the translation in modern English. And this can be very useful for your students or for you if you are preparing for an exam. There are many books. They are all for free. You can download them and they're all for free. No problems. And then these are in alphabetical order, but we don't want alphabetical order. We want to search. What do you want to search? Maybe T.S. Eliot, which you asked. Okay, T.H. Eliot, okay. There's context, which means the period, historical period he lived, the family he came from, the main events of his life, and you know, his works and so on. So a general idea about T.S. Eliot. Then there's summary and analysis of his main works. If you want a summary of section 1 of The Wasteland, there's the summary in modern English, of course. Okay, this is not a very ancient. With a with an analysis about the form, a commentary, and so on. So it's a very good summary of what you have to know about the Wasteland section 1 of T.S. Eliot. And this is for all his main works. But what's very, yes? Okay, but what's very interesting is the themes typical of Eliot. Can I switch? Sorry. The themes which are typical of Eliot, for example, the damaged psyche of humanity, the power of literary history, the changing nature of gender roles, because it was a period during the wars, after the First World War, in which women were becoming more important than before. They got the right to vote, and so on and so on. So these are the main themes of T.S. Eliot works. Then the main motives, fragmentation. He used the fragmentation in his poetry to demonstrate the chaotic state of modern existence, and so on and so on. Mythic and religious ritual, infertility. These are the main motives which you can find in his poetry. And symbols, the main symbols. Water and its meaning symbolizes both life and death, blah, 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 blah. The Fisher King, music and singing. Okay, so if you know this about Eliot, it should be enough for you to be able to write something. Quotes, we don't really care about the quotes. There are other suggestions on further studies, suggested essay topics, teachers' suggestions on how you can creatively incorporate this material into your classroom instructions. And if you want to buy something, but we don't want to buy anything. Okay, so this first part, the context, the period in which he lived, and the life he had, the summary of his main works, and the main themes, motifs, and symbols is basically all you need to know about T.S. Eliot to pass the concorso. Because once you know this, you can make, your extract, your essay as it's asked. Together with the Spark Notes, I'm telling you this because it's not only for people who are preparing the concorso, but it can be useful also for the teachers or anyone who wants to, check something about literature or other subjects as well. Another very useful website is Cliff Notes. Very similar. Yes. Let's say again T.S. Eliot, for example, and see what comes out. Okay, first of all, American poets of the 20th century. Here, they put it in a more generic group about the poet. This again, the life of the poem, his period, historical period, and so on. His chief works, with summaries and comments and so on and so on. possible discussion topics and research topics, but not only. You can also find suggestions on how to analyze poetry. You have to take into account the context of the poem. Who wrote it? Does the poet's life suggest any special point of view, such as a political affiliation, religious sect, blah, blah, blah? When was the poem written and in what country? Does the poem appear in the original language? Because if not, translations can sometimes alter the language or the meaning of the poem. Is it part of a special collection or series? Does the poem belong to a particular period or literary movement? Then you have to consider the style. This is all you need to know if you're given a poem to discuss it properly. You have to say something about the style. Is it an epic, a long poem? Is it a lyric, short musical verse? Is it a narrative, poem that tells a story? Is it a haiku? Vabbè, that's typical of Japanese literature, but anyway. Is it confessional, personal memories and experiences? Then you have to analyze the title of the poem, and so on and so on. The repetition in the poem, and why, blah, 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 the opening and closing lines. This is all you have to know to evaluate, to write an essay on a poem. Okay, I think these websites can be, another one can be useful to those of you preparing the concorso, but also to teachers, especially in the secondary school. Another good website is Grade Saver. Again, here, well, we don't care about all that. Let's simply find, okay, let's go on with the T.S. Eliot. Just to give you an idea of the differences between one of the other. Okay. Okay, these are his the useful links, and then a biography. What Wikipedia says about his prose, and some of his works, briefly, blah blah. Poems of critical reception, Wasteland Study Guide, and so on and so on. But my favorite is Spark Notes, though, because in Spark Notes you can also find the original poem or whatever it is and the translation in modern English. And if you are studying or giving the students something to study about, I don't know, Shakespeare, for example, it's useful to have the original and a translation in modern English, because sometimes it's not easy to understand. Okay, so said. Detto ciò, what would you like to do today? Would you like to work on one of these tools and see what we can... You're all teachers, aren't you? More or less. Do you all teach English or do you teach different subjects? Emanuele, what do you teach?
German.
German?
I just told you, yes. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I have no idea about the German websites because I don't know a word of German.
Oh, don't worry. The sites you show us are very interesting.
Good, good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy you like them. They can be very useful. They've been useful to me in the past. Federica, what do you teach? You teach small children, don't you?
I'm sorry, I've got an horrible sore throat today. I teach to the kindergarten at the moment.
Kindergarten, yes.
But I would like to teach at the primary.
Yeah, primary.
So
this is too difficult for your students, yes. Laura,
I would like to attend the concorso.
Oh, you're preparing for the concorso.
The next.
For the primary schools.
The next. And okay, so I'm preparing, I'm studying.
Yes, is there a concorso in view for the primary schools?
Yes, it's a generic concorso.
Yes, when will it be? I mean, more or less this year?
Yes, this year, probably during the springtime.
Oh my God.
During springtime.
Okay, right. What about you, Laura? What do you teach?
Okay, yeah. I teach English.
Sì, Laura, scusa, Laura.
Yeah, don't worry, Maria Pia, it's okay. I teach English to high school students, and I usually use Spark Notes. Okay.
Ah, did you know it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I know them. I know Spark Notes and also Cliff Notes. I use them to introduce Animal Farm by Orwell that they studied. They read during the summer.
Oh,
and we
fantastic.
analyzed it with the references to history, to all the allegories and so on at the beginning of this school year.
Yeah, fantastic. Animal Farm, one of my favorite books.
Yeah, they loved it. Yeah,
yes.
Because it's very, I think it's very
easy to understand and
easy to understand, but it allows to make a lot of links with the current situation, also political one.
Exactly. Yeah. Michaela, what do you teach? You teach primary schools. No.
No, I don't teach in the primary school. Sorry, in the primary. Yes, sorry, in the primary.
School, yes.
Because yes, I have taught also in the kindergarten this year, both.
Yes.
But yeah, English in the kindergarten, and now I'm a support teacher.
Yes, a support teacher. You taught in a kindergarten and now you're teaching as a support teacher. Yes. Oh, yes. Why I've got the capital letters on. Paloma, what do you teach?
I teach music in the secondary school.
Okay, music, fantastic. Right, Georgia, what about you?
I teach some laboratories at university for support.
Ah, yes, I remember now. You're right. Psychology, was it?
No, inclusive education.
Inclusive education, yes. Nicoletta, what about you? I thought I've already asked you this, but I can't remember all your.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Well, I teach. Well, I'm a sport teacher at the middle school. And I taught English in vocational schools, and I'm also teaching. I'm a tutor at university course for support teachers now. Yeah. So Georgia, hello.
Hi, Georgia, hello. But you know, mainly physical education. Okay, Marianna, what do you teach?
I'm not teaching at the moment, really. So I'm not teaching anything.
Yeah. And Tiziana, you're preparing for the concorso, and I think you're teaching primer. Laura has already told us. Emanuela?
I teach Italian, Latin, and history at the high school.
Okay, so actually only one English teacher up to now. Sandra, what do you teach?
Yes, I'm an English teacher at primary school.
Okay.
And the kindergarten and the nursery as well.
Wow. Anyway, small children anyway, yes. I've got a lot of material for teaching English, which I prepared for the other primary school lessons and the kindergarten school lessons, if you want to, which I can send you if you want to, yes. Elena, I know. Anna Chiara, what do you teach? Where are you now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, good evening. I teach English at primary school.
Primary school.
Yeah.
Right. Christina, what do you teach?
I teach almost all the subjects in the primary school. But I have already won all the other sorts of concorso. Because yes, kindergarten and even for high school. But at the end, I chose to remain in the primary school.
Yes, you preferred the primary school.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Have I already sent you the material for the primary school and the kindergarten? I can't remember what I did with whom.
I saw that those ones of primary school. I don't know kindergarten.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, all right. Because I got so many lessons, I can't remember what I did with whom. Okay, right. So Said, what would you like to do today? Detto ciò, cosa vorreste fare oggi?
Can we listen to the file, The Boiled Frog?
Was it a TED Talk?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if you want.
Yeah, no problems for me. I was trying to remember. The boy frog, was it?
The boiled
frog, yes. The boiled frog. The myth of the boiling frog, okay.
The boiling frog, yes.
Yes, right. Good idea. Okay. Is it okay for everyone, I suppose? Is it okay for the other ones? Anybody against it?
No, okay, it's okay.
Let's go.
Okay.
Two frogs are minding their own business in the swamp when, wham, they're kidnapped. They come to in a kitchen, captives of a menacing chef. He boils up a pot of water and lobs one of the frogs in, but it's having none of this. The second its toes hit the scalding water, it jumps right out the window. The chef refills the pot, but this time he doesn't turn on the heat. He plops the second frog in, and this frog's okay with that. The chef turns the heat on very low, and the temperature of the water slowly rises. So slowly that the frog doesn't notice. In fact, it basks in the balmy water. Only when the surface begins to bubble does the frog realize it's toast. What's funny about this parable is that it's not scientifically true for frogs. In reality, a frog will detect slowly heating water and leap to safety. Humans, on the other hand, are a different story. We're perfectly happy to sit in the pot and slowly turn up the heat, all the while insisting it isn't our hand on the dial, arguing about whether we can trust thermometers, and questioning, even if they're right, does it matter? It does. Since 1850, global average temperatures have risen by 1 degree Celsius. That may not sound like a lot, but it is. Why? 1 degree is an average. Many places have already gotten much warmer than that. Some places in the Arctic have already warmed 4 degrees. If global average temperatures increase 1 more degree, the coldest nights in the Arctic might get 10 degrees warmer. The warmest days in Mumbai might get 5 degrees hotter. So how did we get here? Almost everything that makes modern life possible relies on fossil fuels. coal, oil, and gas, full of carbon from ancient organic matter. When we burn fossil fuels, we release carbon dioxide that builds up in our atmosphere, where it remains for hundreds or even thousands of years, letting heat in, but not out. The heat comes from sunlight, which passes through the atmosphere to Earth, where it gets absorbed and warms everything up. Warm objects emit infrared radiation, which should pass back out into space, because most atmospheric gases don't absorb it. But greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and methane, do absorb infrared wavelengths. So when we add more of those gases to the atmosphere, less heat makes it back out to space, and our planet warms up. If we keep emitting greenhouse gases at our current pace, scientists predict temperatures will rise 4 degrees from their pre-industrial levels by 2100. They've identified 1.5 degrees of warming, global averages half a degree warmer than today's, as a threshold beyond which the negative impacts of climate change will become increasingly severe. To keep from crossing that threshold, we need to get our greenhouse gas emissions down to zero as fast as possible. Or rather, we have to get emissions down to what's called net zero, meaning we may still be putting some greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, but we take out as much as we put in. This doesn't mean we can just keep emitting and sequester all that carbon. We couldn't keep up with our emissions through natural methods, and technological solutions would be prohibitively expensive and require huge amounts of permanent storage. Instead, while we switch from coal, oil, and natural gas to clean energy and fuels, which will take time, we can mitigate the damage by removing carbon from the atmosphere. Jumping out of the proverbial pot isn't an option. But we can do something the frogs can't. Reach over and turn down the heat.
Okay, so would you like to see the questions, or would you like to discuss about...
Two frogs are minding their own business in the swamp when...
Okay. Would you like to see the questions and answer to the questions, or would you like to freely discuss about it? Where are the questions? Maybe
I think we could reply the questions together. Answer the questions.
Two frogs are minding their own business in the swamp.
Maria Pia?
Sì.
The file you sent us is a little bit different.
Is it? Okay, I'll go and see the one I sent you then. Why is it different?
Because the file you sent us contains all the questions.
Yes, exactly.
Test, sort of test. And some of the words are different.
Yeah. Is it this one? Okay, these are the questions. Some of the words are different.
Well, I think so.
Okay, okay, let's do this. Sorry. Shut up. Let's go to TED readings. Okay. Okay, this was the one I sent you. But anyway.
Negative impacts of...
And these were the questions. So, since 1850, global temperatures have increased by an average of 1 degree Fahrenheit, 3 degrees Celsius, 1 degree Celsius, 10 degree Fahrenheit. What do you think?
Is it said? I can't remember it.
Yes.
An average of 1 degree.
Celsius, exactly.
Okay.
1 degree Celsius.
1 degree Celsius. Right. Which of the following are greenhouse gases? Gas serra. Methane and oxygen. Nitrogen and oxygen. Carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Methane and carbon dioxide.
Methane and carbon.
Methane and carbon dioxide.
The last one. Last one, D.
No. Effetto serra è l'anidride carbonica, carbon dioxide, and metano are greenhouse gases. Oxygen is not considered a greenhouse gas. So, D. Scientists predict global average temperatures will rise by 4 degrees from pre-industrial level by in our current greenhouse gas emission, if our current greenhouse gas emission persists.
4 degrees for 2100.
I think he
4
said
degrees.
yes, 2100. 4 degrees Celsius is the threshold for which climate change's negative impact will become increasingly severe. I think he said 1.5, didn't he? Do you agree with me?
I don't remember.
I think he said so.
Yes, 1.5, yes.
Which of the following statements best describes net zero? Continue producing greenhouse emissions and endure the consequences? No. Keep emitting greenhouse gases and sequester them later? No. Eliminate as many greenhouse gas emissions as possible and then take as much out of the atmosphere as we emit. That should be this one. Halting all greenhouse gas emissions until we switch to sustainable power sources. No, the idea was that if we make up for the emissions of greenhouse gases with, for example, planting new trees, doing something that takes them out of the atmosphere, we reach net zero, which is
or even try to search for a carbon storage or trying to capture the carbon dioxide, many different actions in order to reduce the gas.
Yes, but this was considered too difficult to do. So this was what he suggested to do. We can watch it again later on and see if we answered correctly. How does, these are free answers. How does a 1 degree Celsius increase in average global temperature affect different parts of the world? Because 1 degree Celsius is the average increase. But, for example, in the poles, in the North and South poles, it corresponds to, I think, 4 degrees. Did he say 4 degrees? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I heard so.
So, why? I don't know. I can't remember. Did he say why? I can't remember. Did he explain why? Well, we'll watch it again and see. How is our current reliance on fossil fuels causing our planet to warm up? because by burning fossil fuels, we emit a lot of CO2, carbon dioxide, perché bruciando i carboni fossili, come si chiamano?
Combustibile.
Brava, grazie. Combustibili fossili, come appunto il carbone, il petrolio, eccetera, emettiamo CO2, carbon dioxide, la CO2, l'anidride carbonica. E quindi questa è un gas serra che which does not allow the warmth to go out into space. It keeps the warmth like a greenhouse inside the atmosphere, causing our planet to warm up. Okay, so do you want to watch it again and see if we answered correctly? Come on, come on, come on. Do you also want the subtitles?
No, no, Maria Pia.
Okay, this is with subtitles on.
We could try before without and after. In case.
Sure, sure.
Because we can practice better our listening this way.
Yes, okay. Do you know that you can ask for the subtitles by clicking here, or sometimes, not always, you can also ask, going here, to have subtitles in various languages, not only English, but in this case, why is it so slow? In this case, no, it's only English in this case. Sometimes there are other languages, not in this case. What's he doing? Come on, hurry up. Do you also know that by clicking the setting wheel, you can slow it down, go to playback speed, and from normal, you can slow it down to 75% or 50%, or speed it up if you want to. Sometimes when I have to listen to maybe a webinar, something recorded, I speed it up so as to spare some time. Or if they speak too fast, you can slow them down by clicking 75%, 50%, and so on and so on. Not 25%, because otherwise it comes out.
Where did you push about this?
The setting wheel, this little wheel here, la rotellina P,
okay,
setting wheel. You click it, you click on it, and go to speed, playback speed. And from normal, you can, go through the setting wheel.
Okay.
Setting wheel also is useful, okay, for the quality, okay, annotations, okay. Sometimes there are also extra possibilities, not here though. Okay, what's happening here? I don't know, but in the meantime, okay. See, we're prone to accept death by 1,000 little cats, said Mark Winston in Lessons from the Hive. Be tied.
1,000 cats.
See, little cats. After little cats, will finish dead, but without.
Two frogs are minding their own business in the swamp when, wham, they're kidnapped. They come to in a kitchen, captives of a menacing chef. He boils up a pot of water and lobs one of the frogs in. but it's having none of this. The second its toes hit the scalding water, it jumps right out the window. The chef refills the pot, but this time he doesn't turn on the heat. He plops the second frog in, and this frog's okay with that. The chef turns the heat on very low, and the temperature of the water slowly rises. So slowly that the frog doesn't notice. In fact, it basks in the balmy water. Only when the surface begins to bubble does the frog realize it's toast. What's funny about this parable is that it's not scientifically true for frogs. In reality, a frog will detect slowly heating water and leap to safety. Humans, on the other hand, are a different story. We're perfectly happy to sit in the pot and slowly turn up the heat, all the while insisting it isn't our hand on the dial, arguing about whether we can trust thermometers, and questioning, even if they're right, does it matter? It does. Since 1850, global average temperatures have risen by 1 degree Celsius. That may not sound like a lot, but it is. Why? 1 degree is an
1 degree was the first question, wasn't it? How? What was the increase? 1 degree Celsius.
average. Many places have already gotten much warmer than that. Some places in the Arctic have already warmed 4 degrees. If global average temperatures increase 1 more degree, the coldest nights in the Arctic might get 10 degrees warmer. The warmest days in Mumbai might get 5 degrees hotter. So how did we get here? Almost everything that makes modern life possible relies on fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas, full of carbon from ancient organic matter. When we burn fossil fuels, we release carbon dioxide that builds up in our atmosphere, where it remains for hundreds or even thousands of years, letting heat in, but not out. The heat comes from sunlight, which passes through the atmosphere to Earth, where it gets absorbed and warms everything up. Warm objects emit infrared radiation, which should pass back out into space, because most atmospheric gases don't absorb it. But greenhouse gases, carbon dioxide and methane, do absorb infrared wavelengths. So when we add more of those gases to the atmosphere, less heat makes it back out to space, and our planet warms up. If we keep emitting greenhouse gases at our current pace, scientists predict temperatures will rise 4 degrees from their pre-industrial levels by 2100. They've identified 1.5 degrees of warming, global averages half a degree warmer than today's, as a threshold beyond which the negative impacts of climate change will become increasingly severe. To keep from crossing that threshold, we need to get our greenhouse gas emissions down to 0 as fast as possible. Or rather, we have to get emissions down to what's called net zero, meaning we may still be putting some greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, but we take out as much as we put in. This doesn't mean we can just keep emitting and sequester all that carbon. We couldn't keep up with our emissions through natural methods, and technological solutions would be prohibitively expensive and require huge amounts of permanent storage. Instead, while we switch from coal, oil, and natural gas to clean energy and fuels, which will take time, we can mitigate the damage by removing carbon from the atmosphere. Jumping out of the proverbial pot isn't an option. But we can do something the frogs can't. Reach over and turn down the heat. Can you guess one surprising puzzle we need to solve to run our planet on renewable energy?
Okay, so this was it. So I think we replied 1 degree Celsius. Which of the following greenhouse gases, methane and carbon dioxide? Global 4 degrees by 2100.
But there is also, okay, 4 degrees, nothing, I'm sorry.
Yeah. This is a threshold for which 1.5. Which of the following statements best describe net zero? Eliminate as many greenhouse gas emissions as possible, and then take as much out of the atmosphere as we emit. How's to warm up? Okay. Then, of course, there are additional resources if you wanted to, you know, deepen a little bit the when there are these parts written in a different way, if you click on it, there are other videos related to this topic. Okay, this is just a book. Sometimes they are useful videos. Read the book. Okay, this was a book. This is a carbon footprint calculator. If you want to calculate how much carbon dioxide you produce every day, you can use this calculator. For example, there are also other languages. No, but we don't want to change. How many planets do we need if everybody lives like you? When is your personal overshoot day? Take the first step. Okay. How often do you eat animal-based products? Beef, pork, chicken, fish, eggs. Also fish. Okay, grown fish. Eggs, dairy products, never, very often, occasionally. So, I would say something like this for me. Okay, you can also add details. But I mainly eat fish, to be honest. I almost never eat eggs. I eat a lot of dairy products, though. Milk, yogurt, cheese, a lot of cheese, milk, yogurt. Okay, dairy products and fish a lot. Eggs and meat, very, very little. But let's say halfway. So, how do I go on through here? How much of the food that you eat is unprocessed, unpackaged, or locally grown? They're all packaged, unfortunately, almost all. I'm very sorry having to say maybe even more than 80%. Which housing type best describes your home? Freestanding, no running water. Freestanding, running water. Multi-story apartment. Duplex row house with building 2 for electrical. Okay. What material is your house constructed with? Brick, concrete, and stones. How many people live in your household? No. Okay, 3. I want 3. Okay. What is the size of your home? Medium? No. Ok, let's say medium. Beh, se questo è medium, allora com'è tiny? Vabbè, comunque. Do you have electricity? Of course. How energy sufficient is your home? Very inefficient, poor insulation. Beh, no, non esageriamo allora. Inefficient lighting, starting appliances. Inefficient lighting, standard appliances. Yes. What percentage of your home's electricity comes from renewable sources? Purtroppo, through purchased green power, okay, through purchased green power, let's say 12%. Ma quanto lunga è sta roba? Ah, ok. Compared to your neighbors, how much trash do you generate? Same as my neighbors, I suppose. How far do you travel by car or motorcycle each week? 213 kilometers? No, less. It depends if I go to visit my mom and so on. On average, ma sì dai, 101. By car, e 0 by motorbike. I use the bicycle a lot while in Verona, but when I go to visit my mom and so on, what's the average fuel economy of the vehicles you use most often? Boh. Ma sì, sarà 7 litri, ma sì, più o meno. When you travel by car, how often do you carpool? See, occasionally. How far do you travel on public transportation each week? No, in questo periodo public transportation 0. How many hours do you fly each year? I hate, I'm afraid, I'm scared of. Your personal Earth overshoot today is the 21st of April. Huh. If everyone lived like you, we would need 3.3 Earths. How sad. Do you know what an overshoot day is? Who knows what an overshoot day is? This means that by this date, we would have used as much from nature as Earth can renew in the entire year. You know that in 2020, thanks to the coronavirus, Earth overshoot day went back to August the 22nd. We were already in April, and you know, the overshooting day was becoming earlier and earlier in the year. In 2019, it was already in April, and we were expecting it to become in beginning of April, maybe end of March. But because of the lockdown and the coronavirus crisis, no planes, no cars, and so on, we went back to August the 22nd. Anyway, are you still with me?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we are. We are listening to this bad news.
Yes, it's very sad to think that by the 21st of April, I have exhausted all what was at my disposal for the whole year. My God. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Okay, so
To eat just a salad.
why did you choose this listening, Emanuele?
Well, to tell you the truth, because I listened the first part and then I couldn't listen the second part. So I asked you to see if the problem was my computer or my mobile phone. And now I see maybe it's my computer and my mobile phone that have problems with the visualization, with the viewing of the the video.
Try to type TED Talks and the title on Google search and it should come out, or on YouTube and it should come out. If yeah. Yes, you listened to the first part. Listen, Regil 2. You listened to the first part.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyway, yes. Did you know the story of the boiled frog? Yeah. And it's something our politicians would always do, you know. That's one of the reasons why, you know, wars start and so on, because they don't tell you straight away, we're going to, I don't know, start a war. They tell you, you know, they start telling you, those horrible people, they're treating us badly, you know, and every time they eat a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit, and then you find yourself at war without knowing why, you know. Because, and propaganda, of course, is at the basis of it as well, because if somebody if somebody repeats, or if you hear the same piece of news from repeated enough time, you get convinced it's true. Whatever they tell you, even the most illogical, for example, if somebody told you the sun is green, at first you would dismiss it and say, are you kidding? But then you hear it from somebody else. So the sun is green. You look at the sun and think, oh, it doesn't look green to me. But then you hear it again, the sun is green. And you start thinking, maybe it's a matter of a perception, of opinion. Somebody may see it yellow or white or orange or red or even greenish. Then you hear again, the sun is green, and you start thinking, okay, yes, I know the sun is green. It doesn't look green, but there must be some scientific explanation, I don't know. And by the end of the day, you would end up saying, everybody knows the sun is green. It's obvious. It's obvious against any evidence, because it's how the human mind works, by repetition. And the human being has a huge capability of adaptation. And if you simply adapt slowly, you can accept everything. Even your 5-6-year-old children being sent to war to fire against 5-6-year-old children of another nation. Because this is what's happening in some countries. And it becomes normal. It becomes, you know,
but I think
not acceptable, but normal. Hi, Tiziana. As you
can you see me again? Yeah, sometimes I have to. Can you listen? Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking that probably the problem is that there is a lack of awareness, but also because there is no policy to make people aware about what is happening. For example, if there will be in any place, in any area, for example, first of all, I think we need someone who reminds us that we have a problem about environment. I mean, there should be something more about for a local council, there should be there should be done something more. Dovrebbe essere fatto qualcosa in più. There should be.
I think, yeah, sorry.
No, yes, you can correct me.
No, I wasn't correcting your English. I was just adding something, so please finish.
And after, I think also to be, for example, to put some thermometer, how is it said in English?
Thermometer.
Thermometer, but also in different places to make people realize that the problem exists. Problem exists, yes, because people forget it. So me too. I mean, everyone has other things to think about. So we don't remember that we have a real problem, and we should also, the council should act in different local areas to remind the problem with different campaigns. There should be something very also with, for example, to reduce consumes about packagings, because there is a lot of rubbish, unuseful, we do all day because of, I mean, if you are alone, like me, for example, in a shared house, there is a lot of rubbish at the end of the day, but it's unbelievable. I am just one person. It's not possible. I mean, we could save, we could really reconsider our habits, but we must be educated really from the government, from the council, from, I think that there should be a power who has to educare no, perché quello vale per la scuola, education.
To teach
us how to behave.
Yes.
To be friendly environment.
Yes. You know what? First of all, governments sometimes gain a lot of money on our bad habits. For example, gasoline. I mean, it's not convenient for the government, for any government, to move to electricity, because there are a lot of taxes on petrol, and they would lose all the taxes on petrol, first. Second, I mean, Greenpeace, I'm affiliated to Greenpeace, and they have been working for dozens of years by now on, you know, advertising this problem. I remember one day they put all the stripes, orange stripes, to the level the sea will reach over Verona by the year, I think, 2100 or something like that, if we continue like this, to show you that, for example, the Roman theater will be covered by water from the sea if we continue like this. And, you know, most parts of the city, they try their best. And I think common people are aware of all this. But what can you do if, when you buy something, it's wrapped up in a package? What can you do? Can you not buy it? In some cases you can. For example, I almost never buy detergents in boxes or whatever they come, because I go with my filler, with my container, to fill it in the chemist nearby. But this is only a very small amount of plastic which I spare out of all the plastic I throw away in a day or in a year, you know. And unless they give us the possibility to do without all those packages and plastic and so on, what can we do? I mean, you're right when you say that it's the government who should implement, you know, give us the possibility to reduce. The latest government, Conte 2, was putting a tax on plastic and trying to move to electric vehicles and increase bicycles and other scooters and other ways of, you know, moving apart from cars and, you know, moving to solar energy and renewable energies and so on. But, you know, we have a government a year, so, and they change policy continuously, so.
I know that the problem does exist. The problem is that where are we going? I mean, can we close our eyes?
Yes.
For how long?
I think most of the people know that we are going towards disruption, and they would like to stop all this, but yeah, it's not easy. What do you
because
think?
the system is different. The economic system is based on different habits, so it's impossible, as you said. But we should, for example, the government could promote shops where, anyway, there are economic interests. So you are right, it's possible. Otherwise, they could do it. They could do it, but they can't because because of economic interests of companies, big holdings, you know, and so on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Just imagine going back to the original markets where you bought, I don't know, few apples, a few oranges, few without any packagings of any kind. And if you go to a supermarket now, it's you can't do that. It's all packaged. So, what do you think?
Tiziana, I agree with you, but sorry for my voice. But I think that there are a lot of small behavior we can try to avoid to help the environment. For example, we studied in my son's school, primary school, manifest, no?
Poster.
A poster, yes, to tell the parents to not come with their car to take their children, okay?
Right.
A lot of children goes on by themselves.
Go home alone, yes.
Yes, by foot,
on foot,
bicycle. There are some people, that helps them to go home, avoiding cars and things like this.
Yeah, there could be small habits to change, to be changed.
Okay, it's just one step.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I mean, little by little, but where is the first step about this little by little? We should start from ourselves, actually, as it is said. Probably we should start from ourselves to trying to avoid, for example, I know that carpool, is it said, carpool is the way to share a car. Okay, so could be a good idea for a lot of people. Also, you can save some money as well. Not now because of COVID, everything is impossible now. But anyway, it could be a good idea to be suggested. I mean, you can avoid this way. You can be friendly environment somehow. So could be simple ideas. Also, for example, in Modena, a lot of people goes and ride bicycles. It's nice because, for example, in other countries, I went to Bruges in Holland. Yes, Yes, there were a lot of bicycles outside the railway stations. There were big, huge parking areas with bicycles. It was very nice to see that people were also so paid attention to the environment in a concrete way too, because apart it is you can save money when you ride a bicycle. But it's very clever to use it and to make something for the environment. There should be a policy, for example, a council policy that helps this way of this means of transport. For example, Now in Modena we have piste ciclabili, routes, how is it? Bicycle routes, bicycle roads.
Bike tracks,
and it is possible, but not, for example, where in the place where I live in Campania, there is no chance to get your bicycle to have a ride or to, because it's very dangerous. There is no way. But they could invest some money in this way, and they could invogliare.
Yes, they could
propose. They could
yes,
stimulate people to use the bicycle instead of the car, for example. And as you said, that the adaptation that people usually, we can adapt our habits little by little. For example, now, if I consider it a normal thing, like here, for example, in Modena, it's quite regular to have a bicycle and to ride a bicycle. But in Campania, no, it's not. It's unbelievable to have a. I mean, it's out of of our habits to use it. So if we start change our habits, or the council can, for example, help us to change our habits, we could do it as well. At first with a bike track. So, for example, to suggest people to change their habits and to for example, to put to reduce the price, to give a bonus to buy a bicycle, for example.
Yes.
It could do it. It's not so hard to do. In a lot of countries, civil countries, more than ours sometimes, I must say, there are, for example, in northern countries, it is like this. It's regular. It's normal. Sometimes it is so different here in some areas. We should change our habits little by little, but someone should stimulate us to do this.
Yes. I looked up for invogliare and I found to tempt someone, but in the meaning of yes. And Christina rightly found encourage someone to do something. Invogliare. They tried to do that. You know that you can buy a bicycle or a scooter. Scooters are the ones on two wheels with a 50% discount.
But should be a monopattino, I remember. Also
sì,
simple bicycle.
È un monopattino. Scooter loro lo chiamano il monopattino. It's electric, so it's not polluting, and you can get 50% back if you buy one. Yes, they're trying to do that. But and every little bit is good, Federica. Also, you know what you're trying to do with your children, because first, every little things multiplied by all of us becomes a huge thing at the end of the day. And second, every little thing helps the people, especially the children, to get aware of these issues, these problems. So yes, everything helps. But so anybody else wants to cooperate to the discussion? Please say something. What's your opinion? Would you like to work in groups? Do you feel it better if you work in groups? Preferite lavorare a gruppi? Vi trovate meglio a... Ok, shall I split you into groups, and every group must decide the 3 most important things which needed to be implemented to reduce greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. Do you like it? Do you like the idea? Okay. All right. So, 3-4 participants per room, or 2-3 3, 4.
I'm going to leave in 10 minutes, so it's better, 5 minutes, so it's better if you put four people in my group.
Okay, right.
Me too.
The 3 most important Georgia, why don't you get in? Click on the invitation to get into the group.